So those of you who've been following my videos know that I talk a lot about Haggai 2 and the promise of the particular day that Jehovah is going to bless Israel completely, even though Israel is unclean before him. The whole chapter of Haggai 2 explains that. And it says that he is going to do this beginning with the 24th day of the 9th month. Read it for yourself. I've gone on over this so many times. And in the very end, or close to the very end, it talks about that he is going to overthrow the nations on that particular day. That's when it all begins. In other words, this whole thing, the judgment begins the 24th day of the 9th month on the Gentiles. So just as the 24th day of the 9th month begins reconciliation for Israel, so does that very same day, 24th day of the 9th month, begins the day of judgment for the Gentiles. Now, what I want to do is I want to go to the is it the sixth? It would be the sixth trumpet sound. It is in Revelation 9, verse 13. The sixth trumpet, in my opinion, does not. I say again, does not. Or it might. It might happen several times on the 24th day of the 9th month. But I believe that the 24th day of the 9th month, the day of judgment, begins with the first trumpet sound. The sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar which is before Elohim, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. Notice that all this is taking place in the Middle East, this great big war. And four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month to slay the third part of men. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. It could be 200,000 or it could be 200 million. We don't know for sure because of the way this is worded. And I heard a number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision and them that sat on them. Now, listen very carefully, folks, because we may have missed something here. I saw the horses in the vision and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions. And out of their mouths issued fire, smoke, and brimstone. And by these that were the horses that these men were riding on, by these were the third part of men killed. Okay, and by fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. So the third part of men were not killed by the 200,000 or the 200 million man army. It was killed by these horses that had men riding on them. And they had breastplates of fire, which is orange, and of jacinth, which is orange, and brimstone. Okay, brimstone. Everybody thinks that brimstone is yellow, that its sulfur is yellow. Not so. Take a look. Go to Google and look up sulfur. and then go to images. At first you see yellow. But then you start seeing a little bit of green, don't you? Now, let's do this. Go to sulfur mine and look and click images. You'll begin to see green, blue, and purple, also orange, yellow, and you begin to realize that he is talking about the colors of camouflage. Okay? Now you see it sheds a little bit of light on the color that is on these horses. Now, it says, by these three was a third part of men killed by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouth and in their tails. For their tails were like unto serpents, which means pointed, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. Now, mobile ICBM missile launchers. Yes. Go and Google that. And click images. And what do you see? The first picture that you will see is what I think is an American ICBM launcher, although the Americans don't really use them. It's not budgeted. It has not been budgeted in the American military system, at least since August of 2016. But if you look at this picture, the first picture that you will see is the colors. Take a look at the colors of it. It indeed, on its breastplate, it has the color of fire, jacinth, green, varying shades of green, which is essentially the colors of brimstone. Now, let's continue. Let's scroll down until we see one that has the missile actually set up. And I finally found one. It's down about nearly halfway, and you will see that it indeed looks like the missile itself looks like is pointed like a serpent's tail. And on this particular picture, the mobile ICBM launcher, the back half of it is indeed yellow like brimstone. So, and the one I'm looking at, it might be an Iranian one. It does appear that it might be an Iranian mobile missile launcher, but I'm not sure. But anyway, so what this particular scripture in Revelation 9, from verse 17 through 19, appears to be describing mobile ICBM launchers. And by those, it was by these three. So it was by these three, let's see here, were the, yes, by these three, which was fire, smoke, and brimstone that came from those horses that had heads, and with both the head and the tail they do hurt. And of course, these mobile missile launchers are operated in the cab, which is the head. And of course, the missile is in the tail. So I believe that this particular passage, where the sixth trumpet is, from Revelation 9, verse 17 through 19, is accurately describing mobile ICBM launchers. And it is by them, by those, 1/3 of the men on the earth are killed. So it appears that on the sixth trumpet sound, there will be an all-out nuclear war on the earth. Up until this point in time, I have doubted it. But because I could not find concrete evidence that it was going to happen. But when I read Haggai 2, we'll go there. When I read Haggai 2, starting in verse 20, and again the word of Jehovah came unto Haggai in the 24th day of the month of the 9th month that he was speaking about, saying, speak to Zerubbabel, governor of Judah, saying, I will shake the heavens and the earth. I will overthrow the throne of kingdoms, and I will destroy the strength of the kingdoms of the heathen, and I will overthrow the chariots and those that ride in them, and the horses, and their riders shall come down, every one by the sword of his brother. So when I read that, then you begin to realize that there is going to be a massive, massive, massive world war on the earth. But many have wondered when it would happen. Well, it's very clear that a nuclear war, now that I'm able to confirm in my own mind that a nuclear war will happen on the sixth trumpet sound. Without a doubt. Because John was just accurately describing mobile ICBM launchers. So that is the reason why, beyond what the volcanoes are going to do, causing a nuclear winter on the earth, as has happened before, it behooves everybody to remember that the only place of salvation is going to be in Jerusalem, or around the land or around Jerusalem. That's the only place. And I have had a lot of discussions online with people who are deluded about the promise of salvation on Israel, And because of this delusion, they're going to come and fight against Israel's Messiah at the very end. It is very sad. I'm like I said, I'm having an endless debate with these people who deny Israel's salvation, who deny Romans 11 verse 26 and 27, who deny Hebrews 8 verses 8 through 12, who deny Jeremiah 31 verse 31 through 33 and 34. Well, clearly, as I said before, the followers of Jesus and the followers of Yeshua are not the same people. One is against Israel and the one is pro-Israel. So once again, I just wanted to share my recent finding concerning Revelation 9 verses 17 through 19.